Back to Genesis 30. Last couple of weeks, right? We've been talking about the names, right? Getting through most of the 12 tribes of Judah here, of Israel. And a lot of fun names that we looked at. And we saw these moves and counter moves. That's really what all of last week was about. The last couple of weeks, moves and counter. Like someone does something and that prompts the next thing, and then something happens and that prompts the next thing. What was the problem with all the moves and counter moves, though? God was not involved. Anybody think to ask God about any of this? No, never even crossed their mind, right? Not like they've never heard about God moving, right? Each and every one of these people has had encounters with God and know He can move. They've heard the stories, and yet just kind of slips their mind. God vindicated me. I did this. I made this plan, and God vindicated me. Right? Let me just put God's stamp on what I'm doing. We do that. That's a very real thing. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to try to put God's name on it to make me feel better about what I just did. Or sometimes we get tired of waiting on God, so we do it and say, "Oh, this is God's will." Is it, or should we have waited? And I think we can all see that. But yeah, those names, that's the God vindicated. Like Dan, that's his name is vindicated. Dinah judgment. I mean, it's just uh, wrestling. It's just wages and gather. Joseph was, I want another one, right? It's just more, more. Um,
Kind of consequences that I never meet
that's it.
that you're dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're still dealing.
Exactly. So on one hand, these relationships, right, they went wrong in every possible way. Does that mean God stopped moving? I think that was where he ended. That God continued to move through a dysfunctional family, even though it's not the way he wanted it to be done. His purpose continues to walk forward. Right? So just how we got here, Jacob deceived his brother, and his father ends up in exile, takes over a well and starts doing his own thing, right? Pretty girl walks in and kind of just decides he's going to change all their traditions. Deals are made, time is worked. He's deceived by old Uncle Laban, right? He gets it. Old Uncle Laban gets one over him. How about 7 years and another 7 years? And then on top of that, some more. Um, Anybody feeling bad for Jacob right now? I mean, he just got duped, right? Should we be feeling bad? It's kind of hard to feel bad for him, right? Something about reaping and sowing, and uh, so now this next one, oh, Jacob's gonna return the favor to old Uncle Laban, um, and so we're gonna study that. So the first deceptions were for lamb and calf, right? That was the names of Rachel and Leah. And the next deceptions is all about lambs and calves and flocks and so we start to see the parallel. And I feel like I say this every week, but this is a strange story. I guess we should just kind of get used to that statement for a while. um, there are more words here describe patterns on sheep and livestock than will be found anywhere else in the Hebrew Bible. It's just very descriptive, and we're kind of left to sort out what is all this about. So let's Genesis 30. Someone read 25 to 30.
Now it came about when Rachel had borne Joseph, that Jacob said to Laban, "Send me away, that I may go with my own place unto my own country. Give me my wives and my children, for when I have served you, let me depart. For you yourself know my service which I have rendered." But Laban said to him, "I know it pleases you to stay with me. I have divined that the Lord has blessed me on your account." He continued, "Name me your wages and I will give it." But he said to him, "You yourself know how I have served you and how your cattle have fared with you. For you had little before I came, and it was increased to a multitude. And the Lord has blessed you wherever I turned. But now when I provide for my own household also, when shall I provide for my own household?"
That's good. Thank you. I've served my time. I have paid my dues, right? Now send me back, right? So you think Jacob's ready to get out of exile here? Yeah. Send me on my way. Why is old Laban resistant to this idea? Yeah. He's getting rich. What'd you say?
Just an easy meal ticket.
Oh yeah, easy meal ticket. Right? This guy goes away, man. Yeah. Yeah, name your wages. I'll pay them. That worked out real nice last time, right? Name your wages and I'll pay them. No problems there, right? He can trust him at his word, right? These two got a lot of trust going back and forth. I love Jacob's response here, man. Look how much I have worked for you and how you have fared. Now it's time to do something for me. Now I've been looking out for everyone else, right? Now I gotta look out for me. Wink, wink. Like, is there ever been a time when Jacob's looked out for anyone else but him? No, absolutely not. He only looks out for himself, and that's what he tells Laban. Now it's time to look out for myself. I've been so selfless all these years. Now I gotta do a little self care here and look out for myself. So, how did Laban learn where all the blessings have been coming from? What are you doing? Divination. Divination. Hmm. All right. So what could that mean, I guess? Hmm?
In a dream, divine.
Yeah. It's an interesting word. So let's just think about what we know about Laban. Was he ever called by Yahweh? Is it ever said that he followed Yahweh? No. Um, we'll learn a little bit later when Rachel steals his little statues. Is he following Yahweh? No. So when he's talking about divination, what's he probably talking about?
Wrong spirits.
Huh? Wrong kind of spirits. All right. Yeah. Well, so for one, how much divination is needed? Like, hey, anytime you're around, Abimelech made that same kind of connection with Abraham. Hey, when I'm around you, like things go really well for me. But this word divination is interesting. It's not about a divine response from God. It means to observe through signs or omens, or to whisper a magic spell. This word's really interesting. I'm gonna put it up on the board on the screen there. This word Nahash is to practice divination or enchantment, but it looks a whole lot similar to Nahash, the snake in the garden.
One.
Yeah, yeah. So it's connecting. The divination is not, hey, we're looking for a divine response here. He's seeking some things out, and that brings all sorts of connotations in as we kind of think about these meanings and how he's going about it. There's another word in this passage for that's shrewd and crafty, right? And it's all the way the snake deals, right? The snake is manipulative. The snake gives these half truths and goes back on what he says, and you know,
Kind of like terror cards.
huh? Yeah, I think that's the kind of stuff, right, that we're talking about. And it seems like him bringing this word in, he's dealing in some dark things. Right? And so when a Hebrew would see a word like this, right, in this context, I think that's what they would have been seen there, right? So who's the snake in this story? Laban? Yeah? Jacob? Yeah? Yeah, usually we're trying to fit, the characters in, but here we got these two snakes just going at it.
All families like a snake.
It really is. It really is. They're just the wives, right, going at it. Now back to Laban and Jacob, right? I thought these two deserve each other.
When you're in a snake den.
Yeah, exactly. So there's this connecting story about Abimelech and Abraham. So Abimelech, same thing. He noticed Abraham, the God's presence was on him, and he wanted to be in his proximity, and that the God surrounded Abraham. But he comes to him in peace. Abraham even deceived him, and yet he said, "You know what? That doesn't matter. I still want to be in peace with you. I still want covenant with you." Laban doesn't have that. Laban is out for himself. Jacob's out for himself. He never talks to God. He's divining something, but it's not God's presence. Did he come in peace? No, he's very malicious in his acts, and yeah, yeah. Did you have to throw some the Purim or whatever, or the bones to realize that there's blessing? You flip those cards, who knows? No, open your eyes. Your flocks just got way bigger than they've ever been. Your harvests are coming in more so than they ever have. Like, common sense goes a long way. So, can we see where this is heading? Peace and prosperity for everyone? No, there's conflict, right? When these snakes are going together, the conflict is just gonna keep escalating here. So, work for me a little longer. Let me squeeze all the blessings out of you that you're worth before I let you go. Just a little longer. It's like that, the saying, I can't remember who said it, but how much is enough, right? Just a little more. Let me get a little more out of you. And so now we're primed for this coming showdown. Someone pick up on 31 and read to 36.
What shall I give you? He asked. Don't give me anything, Jacob replied, but if you will do this one thing for me, I'll go on tending your flocks and watching over them. Let me go through all your flocks today and remove from them every speckled or spotted sheep. every dark colored lamb, and every spotted or speckled goat. They will be my wages. And my honesty will testify for me in the future whenever you check on the wages you have paid me. Any goat in my possession that is not speckled or spotted, or any lamb that is not dark colored, will be considered stolen. Agreed, said Laban. Let it be as you have said. That same day he removed all the male goats that were streaked or spotted, and all the speckled or spotted female goats, all that had white on them, and all the dark colored lambs, and he placed them in the care of his sons. And then he put a 3-day journey between himself and Jacob, while Jacob continued to tend the rest of Laban's flock.
Here we go again. But don't give me anything. That's what I don't want any. Oh well, there's one thing, right? You know, it's just this bartering. Give me every spotted, speckled, dark-colored lamb. Does that change the meat whatsoever in a lamb? Anything about it? So why is there different?
Because they consider those inferior.
Yes.
But once that strain got screwed,
Yes.
it was going to be the dominant strain. And so guess who got the most sheep?
Right. Yeah. So you know we talk about the spotless white lamb, right? And that was seen as pure, whereas these others with the patterns and the streaks and the marks would be less. And Jacob says, "Give me all the ones that are less. I'll be a good guy. I'll take the ones nobody else wants." Yeah.
Laban probably thinks this is the deal.
Yeah. You know that what he's considered. Oh, I'll give you all my blemished ones.
Doesn't even do that much.
He doesn't even do that though, does he, Logan? No. These will be my way. You know, when you read that, I just couldn't stop from laughing. And my honesty will testify for me in the future. Couldn't even not laugh. Tzedakah, that's what he says. And my tzedakah will testify. That is the word righteousness. My righteousness, my integrity, my honesty will testify for me. That's what he tells me. Like, surely that's a joke.
And he made sure that there was 3 days distance.
Yes,
Travel day and night.
day and night to get these away. And when you check on me, you will know what I have stolen because I am so righteous. Laban, you said it. I agree. And then Laban does as serpents do, right? What did he do?
Let's get 3 days away.
Yeah, just
Catch me.
you can't catch me. I'm going to take all the ones that you would want, and I'm going to get them out of here. Right there again, these two deserve each other. Let's keep reading. 37 to 43.
They made it in front of the branches, for they were young and were streaked or speckled, or spotted. Jacob put a fruit in of the flock by themselves, but made the rest fade with streaked and dark-colored animals that belonged to Laban. Thus he made separate flocks for himself and did not put them with Laban. Whenever the stronger females were in heat, Jacob would place the branches in the troughs in front of the animals so that they would mate near the branches. If animals were weak, he would not place them there. But the weak animals went to Laban, and the strong ones to Jacob. In this way, the man grew exceedingly prosperous and came to his own large flocks and female and male servants and camels and donkeys.
So the word Laban is white, means white, Laban is white. The word poplar is Labanah. So white just gets just flooded with this little section here. So how it sounds, Jacob took branches from Laban by making Laban stripes on them and exposing the Laban wood in the center. He's using Laban against himself. He's using white against white. You know, it's a funny play on words here. And so Jacob's scheme here is pretty crazy, mating and not mating, the strong with the weak, all the weak animals to Laban, all the strong ones to Jacob. And so yeah, Jacob uses Laban to trick Laban. All the different white imagery there. Anybody ever been confused by this passage? I have. Like always, like, what is happening here? Right. Did I miss something? The tree? Yeah, so I've always, I'll be honest, I've always read this and been like, what is going on? And you know, I look at commentaries and a lot of you know the original thought that you'll see in most commentaries is this was either a superstitious ritual or some kind of aphrodisiac, like we saw with the mandrakes last week. So that was a thing. The problem was that thought and that kind of idea didn't originate for 1,500 years later, even after Jesus, where that thought was that the wood could do that. And Jacob uses this as the opposite. So that didn't even really make sense to me. Like, okay, I don't think that explains. There was a guy named Scott Noel. And I read about it. It's an interesting story. This guy was so puzzled about this stuff and some of these other passages. He travels to the Middle East and he embeds himself into Bedouin tribes to learn about their cultures and their reading. I'll tell you, that's all in to understand the Bible. So it's pretty cool. You know, what he came back with, it's really more than I care to get into, but because what he gets into is he says this passage depicts Jacob employing the poplar rods not as a fertility symbol or aphrodisiac, but rather as a type of fake male genitalia. And basically to get different sheep to these female sheep to go and eat early.
I was thinking of like Pavlov's dog.
Yeah.
You ring a bell around the dog and feed them.
Uh-huh.
And after a while, you just ring the bell and they start selling but you're not feeding them. And I'm thinking they use the branches to train them into this meeting.
I think that's something like that. He's got a couple paragraphs, but it gets way more than I want to get into about mating habits of sheep. So we're going to skip that. But I think that's kind of the idea of training these sheep when to go into heat, when they're not around, and then those won't produce anything. But have them going into heat when Jacob's sheep are around in livestock, and then you know he's determining which you know when they're having babies.
In my study guide, which, you know, I'm glad it made it simple for me to understand. It says using colored branches might seem like magic, but they are symbols of Jacob's use of selective breeding.
Yes.
All within the context of God's provisions. To me, it seems like he's manipulating, believing that God provided that for him.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
the manipulation continues.
The manipulation continues. He found a, you know, geneticists will find these out years and years later of how to do this kind of stuff. You think Jacob's smart and wily and shrewd and crafty? Absolutely, right?
The snake always is.
The snake always is. He's smart, man. Right? Remember Esau was the knuckle dragger. Yeah, give me food. Give me some of that red bread. But not Jacob, right? He's the thinker. He's the smooth man. He's the smooth one. So you got these rods in the ground for fertility. This is actually this will kind of set up a whole new kind of picture in the Bible, because rods in the ground for fertility will become a deity. It's the Asherah poles. An Asherah pole is a pole you put in the ground, and there's a lot of thoughts that comes from here. You're putting grounds. Everyone else probably looked at this and thought it was magic. Oh, he put a stick in the ground. Oh, we need to pray to whoever that God with that stick is. And that's Asherah, is the fertility goddess. So these sticks meant bringing fertility. It will bring fertility if you sacrifice in front of them. If you have, it's just some weird stuff with Asherah. If you've ever studied that, if you have ceremonial intercourse in front of the pole, then fertility happens. Like some real twisted and sick stuff. I feel like we've talked enough about that. What's that? And Jacob was the father of all of that. In this. And so, I was with your study Bible until it was like, that's God's blessing on him. Does God need any of that to bring abundance? No. Just with Abraham, it was just like when he was following. Now Abraham did his own scheming and got rich too, right? In Egypt. So we continue to see these two different ways of it's all in pursuit of the abundance, though. It's all in pursuit of getting the blessing, the Eden blessing, abundance, be fruitful and multiply. Can't Jacob just say, "Hey, I'm just after the blessing. I want things to be fruitful and multiply"? What's the problem? So livestock are multiplying, right? What else is multiplying?
Jacob's ego.
Okay, absolutely. What else? Sin is multiplying. Deception is multiplying. Chaos is multiplying. When we go at things, even good things, with sin, what will be the fruit? Sin. This is what God would want for me. But is that how God would want you to do it? You can justify all sorts of things. I'm telling you, it happens. It happens on really big scales with nations. It happens in individuals' hearts. We can justify anything. And that's what we see going on here as throughout this story about the manipulations and the tricks. Who is the God of blessing and fruitfulness? It's Yahweh. They serve the God of blessing and fruitfulness, and yet there again, we're back to here. Nobody ever thought to ask him how to bring blessing, how to bring fruitfulness. And all the while ignoring the blessing. How many times is Yahweh's name mentioned in all of this? None in these passages. The only time it was in the last one was that, putting God's name on what I'm doing. So we continue to do our own thing and hope that everything works out. Did it work?
It's gonna work regardless.
Right.
Not a problem.
Yeah, God already promised it. It was gonna work. Yeah. His flocks got bigger, didn't they? So what's Jacob thinking right now? I'm on the right.
Block, so
Yeah.
it must be his will.
That must be his will, right? I didn't get smited. I didn't get struck by lightning. I did all this and I got big flocks. This must be God's will.
Back into a camper.
Yeah. Too soon?
You're sitting over there, we have three.
Jefford perfect. I'm sure what I'm worried.
Yeah.
was wondering about that. Why do you feel the need to like seek the blessing for himself when it's actively happening so much Laban will let him?
Yeah, so that's a great point. The blessing is already happening so much that Laban won't let him leave. So the blessing's already there. The blessing's all over him. And yet, so why he thinks he needs to one up. Is there a different choice that is Jacob bound to stay here any longer? Could he have left? Yes. He paid his wages, double his dues. Is he in the promised land? He's not. Okay. So just think about this decision even to stay. He's in exile, and he's choosing to remain in exile to try to get richer. He's outside of God's presence, right? He went east. He's outside of God's presence, and he has the opportunity to go west, young man. And he doesn't do it.
He thought about it.
He thought about it. But that's where he started, though. Good point, Louis. That's where he started, right? I have worked for you and how your livestock is fared under my care. The little you had before you came increased greatly, and the Lord has blessed you wherever I go. But now, when may I do something for my own household? Give me that was 26. Give me my wives and children for whom I've served you, and I will be on my way. You know how much work I've done for you. Is it that he was such a hard worker? No, it's right. It's God's blessings on him. Give me my stuff and let me be on my way. And that was every right that he had.
And he knew it.
And he knew it.
Me and I statements through all of that.
Good
Um,
pickup.
Because he's finding himself in all of it and ignoring. That's what I see.
I think that's such a good thing is, this is God's blessing, but no, look, this is my blessing. I'm gonna do it myself, right? I look at what I have done for you. Look all the work I've done for you.
My lies.
Yeah. You know how I have worked. The little you had before I came. No, that's a great. Oh, this is even better now that you say that. And the Lord has blessed you wherever I have been.
Taking the credit.
Yeah. but now may I do something for me. It's just,
He served in the exile,
yes,
and he doesn't want to leave,
yeah,
and so he's using every excuse to stay. And he doesn't want to leave the exile, now he
that's a great point. As we study the exile narrative throughout the Bible, is there a lot of thriving that generally goes on
Yes.
in exile? Sometimes it happens. A lot of times, though, if you think about the 40 years of exile, right? There has to be something that changed, because there, God's like, you know what? You guys keep doing things your own way, and you keep messing it up. Now you're going to rely on me, right? I'm going to give you bread once a day, and you're going to have to just rely on me. I'm going to give you quail in the mornings, right? So you'll rely on me, and God's got to change the narrative. But here where Jacob's at, he's in exile. He's away from God's presence, and you know what? He's kind of doing all right for himself. So let's just stay in chaos and breed more chaos. You know, it's profitable. You know that sin is profitable. Oh, yeah.
Reason that.
Oh, so Lot's is such a good parallel to this. Lot, he was in chaos, right? Sodom and Gomorrah. It doesn't get any more chaotic than that. And the angels is like, dude, you gotta go. And what does he say? My stuff is here. I have position here. I'm doing all right here. Yeah, I don't want to go. He got real comfortable in sin. Jacob seems to be real comfortable in sin. And he's not not in a real big hurry to get out, is he? And so I think that's gonna set up the next story. As this comes to a head, is there any way that these two families can continue to operate like this? No. So, right, the options is you got to get out, or this is fixing to go to war. You think Laban's real thrilled about how all this went down? No.
Jacob has never had to face the consequences. Made sure he didn't face consequences for his behavior.
Yeah.
And so throughout his life, he's never had to face the consequences of disobedience.
Yeah. Yeah. All this is fixing to come to a head, and he's like, you know what? I gotta get out. I gotta split. I'm gonna run away. He's good at that, of running away. And Laban's not gonna be real thrilled about that. And so that's this next passage is Laban to try to run him down, and we got to get out of here.
And this is the word of the nation. Israel.
Birth of the nation of Israel. Yeah. Yeah.
To you your point though, you said, is Laban happy about this? And this all started because Laban thought he was getting a real sweet deal on Laban.
Yeah. So two things. I'm gonna get a real sweet deal on labor. And the second, if I take all my animals away, all the speckled and spotted animals away, like no one's feeling sorry for Laban either, right here, are they? No. Yeah, but yeah, he puts this in motion. He gets duped again. Yeah, it's ugly all the way around. And that's a lot of I think that's the kind of the takeaways that now, as we talked about, a lot of eyes in this and not a lot of God. That is a recipe for chaos. That's a recipe for sin. And that will just continue to escalate and ratchet. There will be, at some point here, God's going to have to get Jacob's attention. Just that's where we're pointing. That's where we're all funneling to. We got another chapter and a half before we're gonna get there. So just be prepared. This is not over. So yeah, let's pray. Lord God, we thank you for your word. We thank you that we can see all the ways in Noctac. Lord, you are the God of abundance. You are the God of fruitfulness. And Lord, there is nothing that you don't own or that you can't create. Lord, I pray that we would continue to be mindful of these lessons of what happens when we try to do things our own way. What happens when we live in sin, when we deal in sin, when we allow sin to creep in just the smallest ways, how that affects everything, how that changes our relationships, how that changes our thinking, how that changes the way we operate and the decisions we make. Lord, I pray for true righteousness. I pray for true integrity for each and every one of us in here, that we would operate different. We would operate to see your will done far and away more than our will to be done. Lord, our will is to see your will be completed. And I pray that we would chase after that with everything that we are, that we would treat people fairly, that we would walk in justice, that we would, even when nobody's looking, we would do things that make a difference in positive ways for you, Lord. So just raise us up here today. We thank you for this. We thank you for the time. And we praise you and we love you. Amen.